to the Transfer Exchange Show. We are live. I'm joined by Steve. How you doing, Steve?
Good evening, Kieran. Good evening, everybody out there. Hope everybody's doing well.
Yes, we are. We're doing well. Well, it seems that Arsenal season is over again. It seems like for the third time, although it felt like Arsenal fans had already come to terms with it, with the Premier League chances being over. However, it seems to be dragged out every game, which is a bit of an odd one. Arsenal drew to Manchester United 1-1 on the weekend, which a draw wasn't a surprise at all, especially considering Arsenal have been struggling to score goals. Yes, they scored 7 past PSV, but the Premier League's a different outfit. And we've seen in games against West Ham, Nottingham Forest, and now Manchester United that Arsenal are going to struggle with goals pretty much all the way to the end of the season. We're going to be talking about that game. We're going to be talking about other things, and we're going to be talking about the latest transfer news as well, because it's starting to get to that point in the season. We'll start off with the Man United Arsenal game, Steve. The game Arsenal played pretty well in the first half. Looked like a few of their players that seemed to be a little bit more on it, but still, again, there was just when it came to that final pass, that final just creating something in and around the box or someone making that run. It just wasn't quite there, was it? It never, and honestly, if I'm honest, it didn't feel like a goal was coming. There was some nice plays, some nice movement by Odegaard. Rice was looking like he was back on form again, but just that little bit of killer instinct around the box.
Yeah, it was I thought it was a strange game, mate. It wasn't like watching an Arsenal Man United game of old. It weren't. I was sitting there watching it, and I was strangely relaxed. Normally, when you're watching an Arsenal Man United game, you're on your edge of the seat.
You're quite tense.
You're tensed, and you're like, or what United to get a corner, and you all sort of, what's going to happen? I felt really, it was just a strange feeling. I was very calm all the way through it, and I think that was because of like what you said at the beginning there. I think there was this expectation of what was going to happen, and the game went really. I agree with you, mate. It went exactly how you've explained it. I mean, the first half was weird. It was like it was all Arsenal passing the ball and that. Making some good movements, some good play through the lines, as you said. Odegaard was looking good. Rice was looking good. But you just knew as soon as it would get, into that final third that, it was going to break down, and it did. And then Wary and Mourinho again, didn't really work at top. Trossard again, quiet. Look, there was good on the ball, but there was no penetration, mate.
No,
there was no. There was none of that. We got what we expected from Odegaard and Rice, that we want from them, and that was a plus. But they needed the 3 guys in front of them to make the runs and do their bit, to sort of finish their hard work that they did throughout that first half, and it was never there, mate. And
no, it wasn't.
And it took a little bit of magic in the end. Well, and whatever way you look at it, it was a good free kick, and he scored the goal.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. And looking at Man United that first half, it was like you could see why they was 15th, because it was like playing a team that was 15th. Watching that game was like watching you play West Ham, or not to put anything against United or anything, but. I'm sure they'll be back, but it was like playing a team 15th, 16th in the table, and it just petted itself out like a damn squid in the end.
Yeah.
In the second half, I think Man United were a little bit better. They put us under a bit of pressure. Raya had to make a couple of really good saves, but. We just great goal from Rice. Do you know what I mean? Got to say that it was an excellent goal. but overall, probably the chances, if you go in chances, Man
Man
United
United
probably
had the better chances.
added a better chances. And
Yeah.
and again, that doesn't surprise me. A lot of people shocked today. Surprising Man United. Arsenal always have it hard when they play Man United at Old Trafford. I don't get where this all shocks comes from, because every time Arsenal go to Old Trafford, it's one of them grounds that we just do not play well at. We never do. Even if we come away with a win, it's a 1-0 win, or it's a 1-1 draw, or we get beat. So even when they're at their lowest, but it was a strange game, mate. And the point was probably what we deserved in the end. Probably what we were going to get through the base of the title, the amount of play we had. Then I suppose it was fair. But as I said, United did have the better chances, and we've got Raya to thank for that.
Yeah, David Raya's pulled off 2 absolute exceptional world-class saves to keep Arsenal in the game. You mentioned the free kick. Did you find anything off with it? Did you notice anything that the ball was further away at the time? Do you think the players could have had any impact on sort of pointing out to the ref, or do you think it just is what it is? It's a wall. It happens. Sometimes they're shorter. Sometimes they're long, further away. It's football. Unless they get the measuring stick out, it's never going to be perfect.
Yeah, I think it is what it is, mate. It is what it is. Referees are human. They make mistakes. They seem to make them more than often than not of late, as we know that officiating is not up to standard of other leagues. But on this particular occasion, mate, no. I totally agree with what Mikel Arteta said. Because the journalist was obviously trying to, pump him to say the wrong thing. But I think he answered it perfectly. He said, look, he was clever. Do you know what I mean? Whether the referee should have made a mistake or not, or whether it should have been a yard forward or whatnot, Fernandes was cleverer than all of us, and he bent the ball in the top corner. So and there's he had no qualms. And I agree with him, mate. Quick thinking from Fernandes.
Yeah.
We've seen in the past when Perez and Omri have taken free kicks, and when the walls ain't ready and stuff like that. We've seen a lot on social media about, especially of like today. I had seeing bits and pieces of people complaining about the wall. But look, do you know what I mean? It is what it is. What it is. We would have taken it. Arsenal would have taken it if we would have scored a goal like that. We would have been saying, get on with it. So. Yeah, we just got to get on with it, mate. As I say, I do agree with Mikel Arteta. If anything, I think you've got to pat Bruno Fernandes on the back for a good bit of quick thinking. I'd be wanting a pat on the back. If I did that, I'd be going, yeah, look, you weren't thinking. Look at me. So, yeah, no, I ain't got no complaints, mate, personally anyway,
Yeah, same here. I've got no complaints at all. I think... I think people are. It's a bit of a reach to be pointing out the fact that it was a yard out. Like I said, it happens. Still takes a lot to get the ball up and down over that wall and on target in the position that it is. But I do have a concern with the lack of goals we're scoring. If it's for me, it's if we can see the goal. The chance is probably going to be a draw, because the most we're going to get out of a game is a goal. So we're looking to win games 1-0. How long you can do that for? How long you can have the expectation that you're going to not concede a goal and you're going to win games 1-0 towards all the way to the end of the season? I don't know. We've left ourselves in a bit of a predicament where we've got a 17-year-old who is going to have to play on that right on the right. And it's forced. Like, I'm sure Mikel Arteta doesn't want to have to play Ethan Nwaneri week in, week out on in their positions, overplaying him, overexposing him. And this is not what we wanted to do. Trossard was looking like he was picking up in a bit of form, and again, it does seem, and certain times when you need something a little bit different, he doesn't quite deliver. And that's not his fault. It's just we have lack of options.
Mm.
I think we did see a difference when Martinelli came on. We had that typical Martinelli spring, like a bit more of a threat up top. But we saw by that missed shot, although it was offside.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's got to be counting his blessings that was offside.
He needs. I think Martinelli. He just needs to be a bit more of a killer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's what I think Martinelli's problem is. Do you know what I mean? He'll beat anybody in the league for pace, but it's that he needs a little bit more of a needs to be sure of what he does when he gets to that bit of play.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's always a little bit off. Sometimes his crosses a little bit off, and sometimes he's shooting a little bit off. He sort of, he goes back and forth with his confidence. Do you know what I mean? 1 minute he seems to get back in the form, next minute and that's sort of been the story of our season, mate. Players are sort of all of a sudden picking up a bit. They get back into form, and then all of a sudden, and then the next week, and I think what it is, mate. I think there's I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, you talk about mentality, and you should have a mentality where you go and win every single match. Do you know what I mean? And I think Arsenal have got that. When they walk onto a football pitch, but I think there must be something in their heads. When they kick off, or especially halfway through a game, even more so when they go a goal down, that it's gonna be very sort of I think a word that I heard today was arduous. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be long-winded. It's going to be like an effort. It's going to be a real effort to get that one goal. And once we've got that one goal, we're not really, like what you just said, going to get that second one. So there's that air that goes around the team of Havertz is not there, Saka's not there, Martinelli hasn't been there, Jesus ain't there. Who's going to do it? Who's a 17-year-old? Trossard's not really a striker, and we're putting Mourinho, who's not played. It's just crazy, really. So there must be that air of are we going to win? Not are we going to win, but look, what I'm trying to say. There's got to be a thought in their head, even in the manager's head, that are we going to get through? And the first thing people will turn to is the strikers. I'm not really I can't really sort of get into that conversation anymore because I think I've just bled it dry. And I think that's why Arteta's getting pretty peeved in the press conferences, mate, because he's getting asked these same questions over and over again. And I think he thinks once he's explained it once, he don't need to explain it again. And then the next week, they're asking him the same question again. And in the end, you're like, I've just got to walk away because you get that.
I was going to get to that. So a lot of people are making a lot of Arteta walking away. Where he was initially asked about the transfers and whether it was the striker being an issue. And then at the point he walked away, it was about the title change, the title race. Some people are saying that Mikel Arteta at that point should be saying the league's over. Mikel Arteta shouldn't be walking out on ducking out on questions. What's your thoughts on Arteta walking away from that question?
Well, I think my take on it, mate, is that he's asked these questions. It gets to a point like when you're asked a question, whether you're a manager, whether you're a journalist, whether you're just Joe Blogs in the street, whether you're me, you, whatever. It gets to a point where if you're asked something enough and it's said to you so many times, in the end, you're either going to lose your rag over it and start shouting or walk away. And obviously Arteta can't scream and shout and tell the geezer to go and do one on live on telly. So the easiest thing for him to do, instead of literally getting really angry with a bloke, is walk away. And I think that's what he's done. I mean, he's been asked a question about the strikers and hundreds of times. He's answered it. We brought up the other week about that guy asked him about that he didn't want a striker, and he's gone, well, what are you talking about? Where do and made the geezer look like an idiot then. He explained it clearly, for the world to see. everybody sees these press conferences. It's on every single media outlet, and whether it's on paper, on the website, or on the TV. Everybody sees it. He's explained it. How many more times has he got explained it? He gets asked and asked. He repeat himself over and over again, and then he gets asked again. And I understand it. I would be extremely frustrated if I was in his position. If I've said to you, when I've tried to explain to people about transfer windows in the past and the situation, in the end, you just want to jump through a screen and punch the geezer or do something. But I think he's just fed up, mate, of the same questions. And I mean, what type of question is the title over? I mean, does he not? Does he need to be told? And I'm sure Arteta is more worried about getting his players back and getting back into form.
Yeah.
And I think what the problem you find is some people, like probably me and you, will look at a game of football and the team and analyse something from a manager's point of view. We will see how a manager's looking at it. Yeah, so we will get that side of football. But there'll be another side of football where fans look at it from a fan's point of view and just don't see a manager's side. But the manager's side, people like Arteta, thinks that it's quite simple and you get it. And in the end, I just think he gets totally frustrated. And in the end, he just walks away, mate. And yeah, we've seen people like Mourinho and Conte in the past lose their rags, and get slaughtered for it. And yeah, look, I don't know what he's meant to do, mate. I don't think he can win, really. Do you know what I mean? If he said something, he'd be in the wrong. If he don't say nothing, he's in the wrong. And I say, how many times do you want to be asked these questions? And isn't it clear? What he said before, but I don't know. People just want some words for the TV, don't they? But
they obviously want him to concede that the title is over. They obviously want him to say the words, "The title's done, it's over." But then, what do you think the reaction of people will be if Mikel Arteta then says the title's over at this point here? What do you think those people in the studio would respond and say if he was to say the title's over?
Do you know what, mate? Football pundits these days, ex-pros, we know the people we're talking about on the TV chat. I'm baffled at their way of thinking, mate. I really don't understand their thinking anymore, and what they would say. I think they just get paid to comment for just to sell the channel or sell the program they're on. But I think people are getting fed up with it. But if he come out and said the title's over, I don't know. I don't think it would mean anything to me, because I think these people would spin it and try and tell the people watching that it's not over. Do you know what I mean? They'll spin it around some way because they have to talk. They have to. These Roy Keanes, these Gary Nevilles, these all these people, right? And these Jamie Redknapp, these Paul Mertens, the people on Sky, the people whoever. They have to keep talking about the title. They have to. They have to make out it's a title race. There's no title race. There never has been a title race all this season. There's not been one. There's not been a race all season, mate. Where has there been a race? I ain't seen no race.
No, it's been catch up.
It's been a catch up, but people, because it's all about keeping people interested and watching the games, they will try to keep. Oh, how many times this did last weekend? Or Arsenal 15 points behind, and even people on the telly will try to spin that. Oh, I've seen them do it now. Well, if they won their next three, I heard someone say, that means that if Liverpool don't play before them, and this is proper pros, and they'll be 7 points behind. So
it's got one goal in 3 Premier League games.
And you know what they're trying to do?
3 Premier League games.
Yeah, and you know what they're trying to do? They're trying their hardest to say, please keep watching my Sky. Please keep watching my TalkSport. Please keep watching this, because There's a title race. It's a title race.
Yeah.
No, there fucking ain't, people watching.
Yeah.
There's no title race. Go and watch a film if you're going to ever put your feet up on a Sunday. There's no title race. It's finished. It's finished long ago. Arsenal haven't come out. Arsenal are the only team that was ever going to challenge Liverpool this season. Nobody else. Right? And Arsenal haven't got out of third gear since day one. Why that is? No, it's not Mikel Arteta. Circumstances this season have just gone the wrong way for him. And that's the way seasons go like that, mate. Sometimes there'll be a season where there's a non-title race, and this is one of them. But people are so desperate for people to watch their channels and listen to their radio stations and get viewers and that, they'll try and drum up anything, you know, for a bit of it. And this is what people on YouTube do. This is what people on their channels will do. They will try and find the most controversial take, you know, just to keep people watching their channel.
Yeah. Otherwise, you are in danger of people losing interest.
Exactly, mate.
Won the league already. What's the excitement in the game? You're going to get games like we had yesterday. Again, like it felt a bit like a little bit more competitive than a friendly, but there was moments. As Roy Keane said, there was one yellow card, like, and I think that wasn't for a dirty foul. I think it was for whatever.
I don't. It's got to a point now, right, where I used to turn on a Sunday, like 2:00, 1:00, watch it all afternoon. Used to love it. Yeah, Mrs. used to drive me mad, Mrs. because she said, all you do is watch football on a Sunday. Now I don't anymore. I don't do it. I don't do it. Right. I turn on I watched a bit of the Spurs game yesterday. It was quite Sunday weekend. I watched the Spurs game. Turned it on at 2:00. Right. And then I turned the Arsenal game on at 4:30 at kickoff. I've got absolutely no interest in listening to this nonsense that they come up with beforehand. If it's a Monday night game, we started at 6:30. I'll turn it on at 8 when the game starts.
Yeah.
These people, for me, talk so much nonsense and rubbish these days that I can't. Yeah, we're moving away to the subject, and we're talking about this, which is probably for another day. But this is what these people have. They're sort of, you know, this is what people are doing. A lot of people in today's football, you know, they're taking, whether it's rules, whether it's one thing or another, whether it's referees, whether it's people, you know, in the game who just want to talk about negativity, pulling me away, and it's pulling me away. I still enjoy the matches when they kick off. You know, I enjoy my job for what I do during the week, but all the rest of it, just can't, you know, because can't listen to these people, mate. I think Arteta, that's one of the reasons why he walked away. I think he's the same. I think he's just can't believe these people they're that stupid that they can't get it.
Yeah, I think it, like you said, it really does come down to keeping people interested in something, which is why I think you're going to see a lot of Arteta digs over the next few weeks, which for me is crazy.
But the Champions, mate, look, there's the Champions League. That's a different thing. Now, that's a different conversation. That's a different type of person that I've listened to. You know, I enjoyed listening to that. I enjoyed listening to the people that talk about it. It's totally away from it. Its referees are different. It makes your enjoyment better. You know, and it's a different conversation.
It is a different conversation. And we'll get onto that in a sec. Liverpool, they got their win on the weekend. Although it looked for a very brief moment that there might be a bit of trouble, they once again they stepped it up and ended up finishing off the game 3-1. Once again, Mo Salah again putting 2 in the back of the net. Absolutely unbelievable season he's having, isn't he?
Oh yeah, I mean I mean one thing about Liverpool, as much as like we all like to have a little joke and laugh about them. This guy will go down as one of the best players in Premier League history. You know, we talk about Premier League teams of the season, and you know, you look at where Salah plays on that right hand side. he's in with a shout, isn't he? You know, he's in with a shout. You know, you look at players, you look at Robin over there who plays on the right. Yeah, I can't think of others that come to name. There's obviously a few, but I'm pretty sure he would fit in there nicely. But yeah, he's an excellent player. He's probably been not at his best over the last few weeks, but similar to like Saka when he wasn't at his best. You know, he'll come up with an assist.
Put in the goals.
He'll score a goal. And yeah, I mean he's, you know, look, it's all right us saying what would Liverpool be without this guy, but the simple fact is, look, they've got the guy.
Yeah.
And most teams that win the title, as good as what their squad is and their players 1 to 11 are, there's always that extra special 1 or 2 that you still can't do without.
Yeah.
You know, like we've sort of last couple of seasons been Haaland and De Bruyne, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? You probably can get little injuries to someone else, but them two, you know, 9 times out of 10, you know, you need, you still need those players to perform. But he's been unreal, mate. There's talks about him being, you know, should he be now talked about as the best player ever in the Premier League? That's stretching it. That's a conversation for another time. But yeah, I mean, if Liverpool do go on to win the Premier League, which let's face it, they have done, haven't they? They've won it.
Yeah, they've won it.
But obviously the Champions League is another thing. If he does win that, then he should be nailed on for the Ballon d'Or in my eyes.
Yeah, that's another one. There's a lot of talk about the Ballon d'Or, obviously with the what Jamie Carragher said about the African Cup of Nations not being seen as a major trophy. If that is the case and it's not seen as a major, is it not an unfair advantage for European players then to then be using the European competitions as a sort of another category to add to the honours? Like, if you're going to use the Euros, surely you've got to use AFCON as one of those ones as well. Same way as if they won a South America player won Copa America and an Asian player won the Asia Cup. Surely you just use them all.
Yeah. No. Well, for one, there was a couple of things with that quote from Carragher that again, he comes up with a lot of stuff that just he should think or check, you know, before he actually says things. You know, and that's the same as goes to Roy Keane. Before you speak, make sure you've done your own work beforehand before you say it, because they really make a lot of cock-ups. But that's another thing. But yeah, look, let's do a massive competition. Do you know what I mean? The AFCON. Do you know what I mean? So, and the fact that he's Egyptian, should that play into it? No, it shouldn't. But look, at the same time, I didn't understand his comments, because players have won the Ballon d'Or who haven't won European competitions. And he was making the point that, you know, because he wasn't in it, he was unlikely to. But, you know, when he said that, I actually did have a look, and I found like 4 or 5 big names that had won the Ballon d'Or and hadn't won a World Cup or hadn't won a Champions League. So, again, do your own work, Jamie, because, yeah, look, you made it right. I mean, it's typical that I can't think of them now, but there was 3 or 4 really big ones that hadn't won competitions, and you know, one was Johan Cruyff. That's, you know, all of a sudden, I think George Best was one at the time. He hadn't at the time, but he won it. May have been wrong. And look, yeah, I'm sure if you Google it, they'll come up. But there was a few. It was Michael Owen at the time as well, maybe.
Yeah, well, they didn't win hadn't won the Champions League. They definitely didn't win the league. So
nonsense quote from Carragher, but we're used to that now. So another reason not to turn on at 1 o'clock on a Sunday to listen to this nonsense bloke. AFCON
watched by over 1.4 billion people each tournament. Not a major competition. I mean, maybe it may not be the quality that you think.
Yeah,
it will be labelled a major competition, but it's a major competition.
That's the thing is as well. That's the annoying. He's just said it off because he doesn't watch it. He
Yeah,
doesn't
exactly.
like it. So
Exactly.
to him, it's not.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So he's made a thing off of it. But
Mm.
there's millions and millions of people around the world who love the competition, who look forward to watching it when it comes around, who look at it as a massive, big thing. Do you know what I mean? And it is a massive, big thing.
Yeah.
Just because we're in Europe, we enjoy the Euros. You know, the world isn't just the Euros, Jamie. You know, it's not just made of European countries. Do you know what I mean? There's Asian, there's African, there's other countries. You know, it's a big world. You know, big continent. So he was just saying it just because it was something that he doesn't enjoy watching. So, which I think is a poor take.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, if you know, I don't get the vote, but you know, if I did, then you know, I don't think you could be looking too far, you know, away from Mo Salah. And I think it'd be great for someone. I mean, look, you know, we had Rodri last year, won it for the Premier League, and yeah, you know, it'd be nice if we can get another one this year as well. So,
I agree. I agree.
He's a quality player. He's absolutely quality. But yeah, tough game for him on tomorrow night. So yeah, but that won't be easy. So they need to sort of get round that one first before it's like because you do feel that teams have to win the Champions League to be in with a shout. You know,
I think that's probably criteria. And if you haven't, I mean, you have to have an absolutely amazing season. Just on Liverpool against PSG. In the last game, PSG were very good in that game, and if it not for Alisson, could have absolutely annihilated Liverpool. One of the best goalkeeper performances you'll probably see in Champions League history from Alisson. Absolutely outstanding. Do you think PSG will be bringing the same to Anfield? Do you think they had that same level of threat, or do you think that Liverpool have sort of held off there and now they're at home, they're going to push on and really finish off this game?
I look, talking to people, you know, watch PSG like regularly, you know, they feel that, you know, they've only got one way of playing. They don't know it. I mean, you can probably, if no one had ever watched PSG before, either, you know, and you had a solid knowledge of football, you would have watched that game last week against Liverpool, and you would come to the conclusion that they don't know how to play another way. So when I was told, it didn't surprise me. Once I had to think about it, I'm thinking, yeah, you look at their team, look at the way they set up, look at the way they are up front. They're not a team who's really defensively good. Do you know what I mean? They don't know how. All they know is how to attack, and I think that's what you're going to get. They'd have to be careful that, you know, obviously Liverpool will catch them on the break, and that's what Liverpool. I think Liverpool may do that. They may even be, you know, content with sitting back, letting PSG come on at them, and hitting them on the break. But yeah, look, I hope that maybe I might be able to get to watch it. I'm not 100% sure, but it'll be a cracking game. And if it's anything like the first one, where, like you said, mate, how they come away with a victory, Liverpool was like, it's still quite baffling. You know, it was only down
2 shots on goal, 1 shot on target, 29% possession. You just don't hear that from the Liverpool team. 295 passes to PSG's 693, 71% possession, 10 shots on target and 27 shots on goal. Liverpool didn't have their first shot on goal until the 81st minute, and they didn't have their first shot on target, and their only shot on target to the 87th minute. That's crazy.
Yeah. No, as I say, Alisson kept him in it, and you know, I mean, that was the first time I've seen highlights of Kvaratskhelia and bits and pieces in the World Cup for really Georgia, and he looked every time I've seen it. But that was the first sort of full 90 minutes I've actually sat and watched him, and oh dear,
relentless, isn't he?
What a player he is!
Great dribbler.
I mean, like, it was interesting because, you know, who else did they play? Who else did they? The front line was Bacola, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Kevin Skylar and who else? Oh, Dembele,
Mm-hmm.
wasn't it? So they don't play with a striker, interestingly. You know, they got rid of Colin Mooney, he went to Juventus.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the guy that all the Arsenal fans wanted, who, interesting stat about Colin Mooney, he now hasn't scored in 7 consecutive league games. So Arsenal fans, I think we might have swerved one there. But yeah, I'm looking. I hope to get to watch it. I don't know if I will, but I hope to get to watch it because I think it'll be a cracker, mate. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, as I say, people who watch PSG regular, they're saying that, you know, this is a team that could go to Liverpool, and, you know, if they catch them on Liverpool on a bad day, they could come out quite convincing winners, because this is the best PSG side for many a year. Many a year. This is a better PSG side when Mbappe, Neymar, Messi was in the side. This is better. This is a better team
Mm-hmm.
than that. Do you know what I mean? It's definitely not
More
as
balanced.
good.
Yeah.
More balance. More. Do you know what I mean? When they play against other teams, they look stronger. They look more sort of like more to play. They look more. Yeah, they're just an all-round better team than the ones with Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar. I know people go, "Hey, did you work that out?" But no, I mean, people who watch them regularly have told me that, you know, they are. But yeah, it should be a good one, mate. And yeah, I mean, I've not got any preference of who wins, I'm afraid. But if Arsenal get past their ones, then it might make a difference. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe we can get one over from Liverpool, you know, for winning the league. Who knows?
Well, I'll take something. I'll take a trophy. I need a trophy. And Arsenal against PSG. We didn't speak about it last week, but absolutely outstanding win there. 7-1. And I don't think any Arsenal fan thought that Arsenal would be putting 7 goals past anyone since all their injuries. But to put 7 past any team in the Champions League is a big thing. And you can't really take anything away with that. Arsenal were excellent, and I know PSV's probably about 3 of their goals were some of the most sort of worst defending I've seen in Champions League history.
Yeah,
Arsenal still put it in the back of the net, and then it's a good 1 foot into the next round.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I mean, we're through to the next round. We know that. So I think it's more than 1 foot, though, isn't it? I think it's.
Yeah, I mean.
I think it's 1 foot and a little bit of a trot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was a great performance, and we've had the narrative again, which follows Arsenal everywhere we go, really, doesn't it? You know that it's only PSV. Well, you know, it wasn't saying it was only
the game. That weren't how anyone.
wasn't saying only PSV. You know, I have heard of Carragher saying it was PSV. I've heard Mercer. It was PSV. You know, they'll come up different when the Premier League side and. Well, PSV beat Liverpool when we didn't even know shit about that, did we?
Yeah, they also beat Juventus.
Yeah, and it's a narrative, and again, I mean, not to go back to like the Arsenal Man United game. Do you know what I mean? It's not. If Alisson had pulled off those saves that Raya had, we'd never be hearing the last of it. But we're hearing about Raya. Was he standing in the right place in the fucking wall? For fuck's sake! Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, what is going on here? You know, again, narrative towards Arsenal sometimes is terrible, but yeah, look, it was a great win. We're through for the next round. I think the most exciting thing about this Champions League this week is really who we're going to play. Is it going to be Real? Is it going to be Atletico? I want to ask you a question, Kears. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a question that's been bandied about, you know, quite recently in groups that I've been in. You know, who would you rather have? Would you prefer? There's been different reasons and reckonings why people have preferred to play Atletico, and would they prefer to play Real? Because it's up for grabs. Atletico are brilliant at home.
Yeah.
right? And they can easily get their number. Real Madrid ain't what they want, even though they're yeah. I'm rattling on, but who would you prefer? Who do you think Arsenal prefer
It
to?
sounds crazy that it's a who do you prefer. It's two very tough things, especially when it comes into cup competitions. You'd rather avoid these two to the final. I've heard the argument. I've heard reasonings. I don't think I could ever say that I would rather have Real Madrid over anyone, just because of the sheer quality that they bring. No matter how much we can talk about how difficult it would be to break down an Atletico Madrid team, Carlo Ancelotti can do that as well. Carlo Ancelotti can sit in and be gritty, and like they've still got players, and even if players like Carvajal ain't playing, they've still got players that can do that. They've still got players that, like Bellingham, yeah, he's a lovely footballer, but base level, if you tell him you want him to do a job, work, win tackles, get the ball back, keep it tight, don't let Arsenal get on the ball and then hit him on the counter, you better believe he's going to do that. Valverde will work hard.
Valverde's been brilliant this season,
Yeah, all these players will do that.
Even Modric and,
You're going to get an honest performance out of them. Tchouameni, Camavinga, whoever it is, they're going to do it. And then you've got the defenders as well. What, you think that there's what's his name there that's not going to be able to bully some of our players on the pitch? It's like like who else they got? Rudiger, that's what I'm saying. Rudiger, another player who's just a gritty, tough defender. These players don't have to take it out of the back and play. They can do that. So look, all I do hear that people are saying Atletico Madrid because it'd be hard to break down. I don't want to be thinking about if there's a potential slight off day at some of our players, that how much Real Madrid would be able to exploit that. Even more so than Atletico Madrid because they're going for it. Whereas Atletico Madrid will get a goal and will sit in. And then in the 90th minute where you're still pummeling down the door to try and get another goal, to kind of get an equaliser, that's when they're going to hit you on a break and get 2-0. That's Atletico Madrid. That's what Simeone does. So I'd rather play Atletico Madrid.
I'm with you, mate. I'm not having the Real Madrid one.
Nah, neither am I. I get it. I get what people are saying. I don't think it's a crazy take, but I do think you're overthinking it.
They're thinking they'll come at us. They won't sit back there. They won't.
Yeah, no. They're not silly.
All these things, like if they'll come at us, then we can sort of might be able to pip them off. Look, hopefully we'll have. It looks like Saka's back. We'll be back for that game. So that'd be a good thing. And it's obviously Martinelli's now back. But so with Trossard will play down the middle, I don't know. But so we could hit him on the break, but I'm not. Yeah, look, if you're asking me, I'm not. I'd still prefer Atletico. Have that sort of like, look, it'd be tough, look, it'd be rough, we could tumble. We can do that. They're more like a Premier League team for me.
They are.
So we used to that. Look, they got Alvarez up the front, who's been in excellent form, was an excellent striker.
Yeah.
But like you said, I really wouldn't want to play any of them.
They were tough, but we had our chances. Like, it weren't as if I remember Godin was celebrating because he'd made 2 clearances off the line. Like, this is what I mean. Like, putting in challenges to block off shots and that were on target and going in. But he's like, so it weren't as if we didn't have opportunities to score when we played them previously. And the same mentality of the team, they will set up in the same way.
Yeah.
Tough game. But I think that's one of those games where we could win 1-0. Yeah, we can get a 1-0 and then get a 0-0.
If we can get to the semis, if we can get through to the semis, then who knows, mate?
Who knows? Who knows?
This is the one.
Arsenal aren't going to win a Champions League. It's a cup competition, mate. It's a cup competition. Do you
Teams
think that
notoriously
Chelsea, when they
not
won the Champions League, they were the best in the league? No, they weren't. They
no
came 8th or
no
11th, I think it was. Liverpool. Did
Liverpool,
Liverpool win the league when they won the Champions League? No, they didn't. They
Porto,
didn't.
Porto.
Porto,
Were
like
they the
so
best
many of
team?
these teams, they're not having the best of seasons. They do win the Champions League. Borussia Dortmund last year, Bayern Munich last year. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it seems that a lot of teams are sort of like prioritising this now, this Champions League, because it's getting towards the end, especially like teams in like, I think we all know how big the Champions League is, but I think European clubs, it's big.
Mm.
I mean, I know in the Premier League it's big. You know, it's the biggest competition in the world. But there's something about when it comes about that they have a sort of different attitude towards
Yeah, no,
it.
they do. And you see some of their leagues move
They
around
yeah.
to suit them, and I get it. But and in England, we do see the Premier League as the main thing.
That's right. We do.
And I think that's right. I think it is
Players
right.
come alive as well. It's funny how players come like Real Madrid. Look, when the Champions League's on or the music starts, however, you know, whatever form they're in during the league season, they'll turn it on. I was being surprised. I see an interview with Carlos Ancelotti a few weeks ago, and he was saying like their best player this season in the Champions League, because he's injured now, and the conversation was about, you know, how gutted he is now that he's not in the side, was Dani Ceballos.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Apparently, he's like first name on the team sheet, and like Arsenal fans were like, "What?"
It's a different.
No, I like Ceballos.
Right, but it's a different pace of football. And when Ceballos when he was getting into it, and the pace worked for him, he's a very tidy footballer. He's a very good footballer, very good passer, can create space, can get into positions. Like, he's a very good footballer.
He's good on the eye, isn't he, Ceballos?
Very good on the eye.
Yeah, I used to watch him, and when he used to get the ball, you sort of like moves a little bit forward in your seat, as if to say, like, what's going to happen?
I can't know. We could do with a Dani Ceballos right now in the team.
Oh,
yeah, a great spark from deeper, which is why we're going for Zubimendi. But
yeah. But it's big, Matt. I've got more excitement now over that than the champion. And look, I think if we get knocked out by as long as we don't go and get beat 6-0 or something over 2 legs, Real Madrid, look, we're up against 2 of the best teams, in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? It's in world football. Do you know what I mean? And anything can happen when you play these teams. Are we strong enough? I don't know.
I think we'd have to be seen as the underdog in that.
Oh, 100%. Can we do it? Could we do it? Like if we got my Odegaard on it, if we got Rice on it, if we've got Martinelli on it, if we got Saka on it. Look, not having someone's down the middle, but not having someone down the middle, for me, and I was having this conversation with someone the other day, I don't know if you agree. I was having a conversation with them saying, yeah, but you could have done with Havertz against Madrid. I'm saying, but in the Champions League, I don't think that matters that much. I think it's a different type of football than you playing Premier League. With Premier League, you need that vocal point, don't you? That guy. I think in the Champions League, it's different.
Yeah, it is different. It's
totally. If we let Madrid, they go their forward players. Alvarez, he's not.
Yeah,
he's not a main striker. Mbappe's not a main striker. And if you go look at a lot of other clubs, they're not really got that. They don't play with that. Okay, Bayern, I'll say, and I suppose you could say, Barcelona do with Lewandowski. But there's a lot of teams that don't have that.
I don't necessarily think it's anything where they do this, we do that, they do this. I do think that because of the way that football's played, because it's a little bit more like chess, because it can be at a slower pace, so you can very much interchange. It's very tactical. I think it's different. I think it is a little bit different. I think you can afford to be a bit more fluid. Players can take up different positions. And as I said, it's a cup competition. This isn't like
it's more of a chess match, isn't it? You're right. So it's more like a chess match. It's very tactical.
Yeah, it's like in the Premier League where you've seen that team play there. You know how they're going to set up. You've seen this team. You know how they're going to play. It's a different way of football. So
And I
anything
think,
can happen.
and I think the 7-1, mate. I think the 7-1 against PSV. I think if you're an Arsenal fan, I wouldn't sort of palm that off as if to say it was
We couldn't score
PSV.
again. Yeah.
I think if you want to look at the positive side of that, you could say this is the day you need to play in the Champions League.
Mm-hmm.
This is the type of how it goes. Do you know what I mean? As I say, they beat Liverpool.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? This side, this same team beat Liverpool. And Arsenal swept past 7 past them. So who's to say that we haven't got that little bit of, I don't know, bit of voodoo luck, if you want to call it, in this year.
Well, hopefully we will see big game this week for the rest of the teams. We need to see who we're going to get potentially. We need to see who's going to be going through to the next round. It'll be interesting tomorrow how that Liverpool game ends.
I wish we was on the other side. Do you know what I mean? I wish we was on the other side of the draw. Probably prefer that. But then we'll probably come up against Bayern again.
Yeah, and I'm not one of them people that's going to be like, bring on Bayern. Give me the easiest route to the final.
Yeah. Last season.
Then wing it.
Remember last season? Yeah, give me Bayern. Revenge. No, I've gone past the revenge stage. Give me someone new.
Just the easy route.
Yeah, give me new. I'd take Real Madrid. We'll play Real Madrid. Just keep Bayern away.
You went in on that for me. Transfer updates, transfer news. What better place to be than to get the latest transfer news? Where do we start? Manchester City. So Jim, Manchester City, Camavinga. Sorry, Manchester City are interested in Camavinga, Steve. Would be a very good signing for them.
Yes, Camavinga. He's Man City are interested. They're looking at a replacement for Gundogan / Bernardo Silva. Mm-hmm. He's a different type of player. He's someone that is more defensively, but he can play sort of number 6, central midfield. He's somewhere who Pep's looking to sort of strengthen that midfield next season. It was a story that I actually brought to everyone's attention on, I think it was Thursday, just gone. And it's actually been confirmed today by Florian Pettenberg of Sky Germany, literally just before we come on tonight. So looks I had a first there 4 days before anyone else. Just put that in there, But and from my understanding is that they're playing on pushing Marmoush out to the left. Pep's not satisfied with the goals that have been scoring. They want someone to sort of help Haaland out. This is why they bought Marmoush in. So I think next season what you're going to see, if Camavinga comes in, you'll see Marmoush move that to the left. Mm-hmm. We know that Marmoush was a prolific goal scorer last season for Eintracht. He started off his campaign quite well, got an hat-trick against Ipswich. We know he's a goal scorer. That's why Pep's brought him in.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough as well, Camavinga and Marmoush are also part of the same agency, CAA Stella. So there obviously seems to be a link there. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't actually told that on the Thursday. It was something that I looked into afterwards before I'd actually broke the news of the Man City interest, and spoke to a few people, and it come around that they was both part of the same agency. So I've not actually been told this, but I would not be surprised if there's some kind of conversation gone on while the Marmoush was signing happened, that the Camavinga talks came apart or whatever. But there's your link there. And as I said, Florian Pettenberg from Sky Germany's came out just before we come on the show tonight and confirmed my article from Thursday. So Man City fans, let's see what happens in the summer. Obviously, early days, a lot's going to happen, but definitely someone who's on the agenda for Man City, Camavinga. Good player, good player.
Yeah.
Not a goal scorer, but the way it was explained to me made sense. You know,
Yeah.
the Marmoush moving out to the left, Doku
Not
that's
quite.
not scoring the goals.
Yeah.
In the past seasons, you've got Gundogan who's scored a lot of goals for City. You've had Silva who scored a lot. They're coming to the end. Probably will leave in the summer.
Yeah.
And we've obviously had a little bit of tactical insight into what Pep's planning to do, which is really interesting, I thought, because it all, again, I spoke about last week about, when a transfer is taking place, sometimes look at the links towards, on certain things and the way. Sometimes it's interesting to see what they're going to do. But, it's an interesting one. They need to score goals, Man City, next season. And look, Camavinga, great in that goal scorer, but buying Mamouche in January, moving him out to the left and partnering him up front with Haaland, Man City would hope to get those goals that were over the past seasons we've seen prolifically come from Gundogan and Silva.
Yeah. All right, nice one, Steve. Santiago Castro is another player that is of interest of Arsenal. The Bologna forward is likened to Lothario Martinez.
Yeah, mini Lothario.
Little Lothario, little Martinez.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that transfer or the rumours, Steve?
Yeah, look, it's again one that's very, very early days from what I've been told. He's someone that Arsenal are planning to, strengthen this strike force over the next couple of seasons. And I'm not even sure if Castro will be something that would happen this summer, but he's just definitely someone who's being closely looked at and who has been spoken about, from my understanding, talking to people this time over in Italy. So, I don't know much about the player himself, but like you said, Mini Lotoro, he's calling him like an Italian wonder kid. He comes from Bologna. Again, we do have another link. Arsenal got a very good relationship with Bologna. We bought Tommy Ashley from there. We bought Calafiori from there. And this kid's another guy who's performing very well in Italy. And look, Arsenal are planning on strengthening that strike force over the next couple of seasons, that front line. So quite heavily from my understanding.
Yeah.
Massive transfer window this seems like it's going to be for Arsenal.
Yeah.
And a big one, similar to I think it'd probably be the biggest from indications and talking to people, especially and mainly looking at the front line and possibly a couple of midfielders as well. Jorginho and Partey, we know possibly could be leaving. From my indications, understanding is that they've been offered yearly contracts on top, which is what Arsenal too. But I don't think, from talking to people, exactly that, mate. This the security thing, and I would not blame them 1 minute for leaving.
Especially when you look at Partey's injury record, for him to take a 1 year deal, you'd probably think, especially from an agent's point of view, you think it's a risk because how do you get if you have another injury, say even a month out, then the club's questioning whether you get that extra year. The club's questioning whether you've got it anymore. And then once they've seen that, you're now 31. You're not going to get that 3-4 year deal from another club. This is the time for his last contract, so he's probably looking for a year plus, a 2 year plus.
There's a number of midfielders that Arsenal are looking at. Young midfielders. There's quite a few. There's a guy from Lille. There's the guy. Another story that was confirmed of mine from last week that again was confirmed the back end of last week as well from Germany was Arsenal's interest in Lugo Larsson. That was another story that you lot heard on here. More or less first after the thing went out. But
Eintracht Frankfurt midfielder.
Yeah, he's another one that the story has been confirmed after my article went out. So he's a guy that they're looking closely at. Got quite a good relationship with his agency. So that's one to keep an eye on. So yeah, big window for Arsenal. We know all about the front line. It's going to be a big summer. Big summer. It's going to be one of those transfer windows that if you're into your transfers, then you're not going to be found wanting. Big summer for Tottenham. Planning on spending. Manchester United, big summer for them. Arsenal, big summer for them. Newcastle need to, what I'm being told, to keep Isaac happy, they need to show, that they're going in the right. They need to bring in players to show that that they're going forward, and Isaac likes the process of what's coming along. If there's any chance, so a lot of big clubs are going to be looking for players. So keep watching, people.
One of the players that Tottenham have been linked with, a couple of youngsters, Diblin, and Adam Wharton.
Diblin was another one. The
midfield sensation from Crystal Palace, got an England call up to the Euros last year. He's like a little bit of a blast from the past, where he's that sucked down. He's got that bit of class within him, but he's also got that little bit of grit as well, where he's clearly been in the Championship and played his football there as well. So a very, very good player whose trajectory since he's come to the Premier League has been absolutely rapid, and it's clear that Crystal Palace are going to struggle to keep hold of him for
definitely, mate. Definitely, England's star of the future, isn't he? You can see him. He got picked into the squad, didn't he? For the or was it the 23 or the 26? For the Euros. He didn't.
He got to 23.
Did he get to 26?
23. 26. Got 26.
26, yeah. So, highly thought of. So, but, again, someone who's on Tottenham's radar. Tottenham, again, obviously, Diblin's another one who's a priority target, for the summer. And, again, a lot of players expected to leave Tottenham as well. In the summer, there's been rumours about Christian Romero, could be on his way. He's not happy. He wants to. He's coming to a certain age. He wants a big contract, and he's not next contract. After winning the World Cup, he's got the taste of winning more trophies. So we ain't going to do that. Ain't going to do that at Tottenham. It looks like Basuma is another one who's sure to go. Yeah,
he's one of them highlight reel players, isn't he? How many times did we speak about him on the show?
Yeah,
and another one of them Arsenal players that
we never rated him, did we, Keith? Someone we went.
I watched him and I was like, I mean, he's good on the eye, but then I watched a bit more of him and I was like, he's a player that when he wants to turn up, he turns up.
Yeah,
and then most of the time he don't want to turn up because it just don't suit him.
So that's another one. That's another area of the pitch where Tottenham are looking at. We're talking about, turns up when they want to turn up, sometimes good in the eye, no more than we're talking about James Maddison here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's another player.
I like Maddison. I like him as a person. I quite like him as a guy.
Yeah, he seems like a really nice guy.
Yeah, I like.
He's a decent footballer. I'm not saying he's rubbish, but the talk, the hype that was around him over the last 4 or 5 seasons has been over the top. And especially in his first season at Tottenham as well. I saw him literally, a ball got past and all he did was get a little toe onto it and it went on to someone else. And the amount of glossing that people were saying, the touch from Maddison, it's just those little, and toe onto it. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, Sutton's another one who's coming towards the end. Towards the end. So it's like we mentioned just before this little section. Tottenham, big window. There's going to be a big window for them. Excited about this window, mate. Isaac's going to be the interesting one. He's the one that a lot of people are keeping quiet about. Keeping stum. It's sort of undercover sort of thing at the moment. I'm sure. Newcastle.
There's going to be a club that's going to sort of fork out the money for Isaac this summer.
See, the thing is, with Isaac, it's like there's not many clubs that can afford. We live in the world of PSR these days, yeah. So there's not many clubs out there at all that can afford what they want. You know what Newcastle would want. But we're talking maybe Arsenal could possibly afford it if they wanted to sort of forego other areas. But I don't think that's the reason why Mikel Arteta's looking at other players.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've heard. I'll go back to that. But yeah, just stand on Isaac a minute. I think he's going to be a lot about him.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Newcastle don't
qualify for Champions League, they're going to need to show some intent, as you were saying before, which is essentially they're going to have to buy players to keep him sweet.
Sorry about that.
That's right. We're saying that if they don't get Champions League, they're going to have to bring in players to keep him sweet.
Yes, yeah, exactly, mate. That's my feeling that if they don't get Champions League football, I think he could. I think he could leave. That would be the second season then, wouldn't it? With out of Champions League football. And look, Isaac someone who could be playing for the best any team in the world up front down that middle, really. So not in the Champions League at his age, 26, 27. I think that they're going to find. I'm not trying Newcastle fans. I'm not trying to sell him or anything like that. Or to Arsenal or anything like that. But if you're Isaac, that age, you want to be playing at the top echelons of football, and it's going to be difficult. And I'm sure he's going to be, and he'll know that, he'll want to be playing at the top level. And he'll want to start possibly winning trophies. And at the moment, unless something sort of changes quite drastically at Newcastle, you can't see that happening. And he did an interview, and he was saying how much it would win to win a trophy for Newcastle, how much it means to win win the game on the weekend against in the League Cup.
Yeah.
But this is what I've explained to on the show quite a few times, is that if he winning the league, if you're Isaac now, right, one of the best strikers in the world, right, and you win the League Cup, so you got a trophy, and Newcastle don't make a Champions League because you're not in the Champions League, he's not staying at Newcastle.
Yeah, the League Cup's not going to keep him there.
He's gone.
Yeah.
So this is my thing when I talk to people about getting players.
If he's deciding he wants to go, because if he don't got Champions League, the League Cup's not going to stop him. He wants that Champions League.
No, there's no. If he won the League Cup and the FA Cup, that's not going to stop him winning the league to go and play against Barcelona's, Real Madrid's every week and playing for a team that's knocking on the doors of winning a Premier League or something, whether it's a Liverpool or an Arsenal. So these trophies ain't going to stop players like that. They want to go on to their, going on to their careers. But yeah, you got any thoughts, mate, on what Isaac could do?
It's a tough one. Look, Newcastle are currently sitting in 7th. They are what? So you can get potentially the 5th Champions League spot. So they're only 2 points off of that. Off the top 4, they're 4 points. The opportunity's there. The opportunity's there. We've got 10 games left. There is
a big likeliness as we sit that we could have 5 this year.
Yes. But even then, that's still Man City and Chelsea in there. Yeah. Are either of them two not going to get in? I don't know.
I don't
know. The form is everyone's been so up and down, except for Liverpool this season, that you never know who's going to get the win and who's going to get the 3 points week to week. So it's a difficult one. I think over the next 5 weeks, I think we'll really see what's happening there. But look, it's very open. You can even go down to Bournemouth, Fulham, and if you're going down to Fulham, why Crystal Palace not looking at that situation, thinking, well, if Fulham are involved in that,
You can just
decide
keep,
for
you just keep going,
Brentford.
can't you?
Like
Yeah.
it gets a bit silly. Tottenham, that's a bit too far. It's 4 points of Brentford, but we're talking about not even 10 points will separate 6th and 12th.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
9 points. So yeah, and that could be a matter of a couple of
yeah,
wins, a couple of draws, and you're very much in it.
yeah.
Newcastle are well in it. They're well in it.
If I'm Isaac, I'm thinking I'll probably want to leave.
If I don't get Champions League football,
Yeah,
it would definitely be on the back of my mind.
yeah.
Definitely. What is he?
He's not just like
25. It'd be 26 in the summer. Come the new season.
If you're his agent or your family, you're talking to Isaac and you're saying to him, you should be playing for you could walk into a Barcelona or Real Madrid. You could be, look, Lewandowski's 36, 37 now. You could go and play for them up front.
Yeah, but then
Do you know what I mean?
the difference. Is that the difference? Is it I could play for Barcelona and my agent's talking to Barcelona and he's saying, hold off a season.
Yeah.
We'll take you. Like, are they doing that in the background? Is that's what's happening?
Yeah.
Who knows? But
I was listening
all
to
on timing, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Isak's one of these players that there's not many players like him at the minute.
Yeah.
He's a rarity.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? There's a striker you think who's similar to him, who's like him. There's not many like he's Ireland's totally different. Like Salah's a bit different.
Mm.
He gets compared with Thierry Henry. He gets a talk, and I can see that comparison.
Yeah.
I can see what they mean by the way he is, and he from like listening to people, he's got that air about him of sort of like of that arrogance.
Yeah.
Where he's like
he backs himself.
I back myself.
Yeah.
There was this thing I was listening to a podcast. It was the Athletic podcast. I was listening to the guy, Newcastle guy, who's the correspondent for the Athletic, and he was saying that he wrote a piece, and he said there was a guy, and he said he was walking out the tunnel, and he said he was just like walking. You couldn't see who it was, but he had his hood up. He was just walking in, just lankily, just striding in like he owns the place. Walked out the tunnel. He had full clothes on and a hood up. So he's walking out onto the pitch before the game just to have a look. And he's walked onto the pitch and he with both hands, just like an heavyweight boxer in a ring, before a fight.
Yeah.
Took both of them and took his hood off and with both his hands and put it back and just stood there like that and looked around to James and I went. And I was like, yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Got a presence.
Come to my club.
Got a presence.
But that's like, I know I'm it. I'm gonna go. Do you know what I mean? But that was just like, I was envisaging the way when he was speaking it.
Yeah.
And I was like imagining it. I thought, this guy is like. But if someone else was to do that, like if Trossard had done that, you'd be like, what are you doing, mate? But like he done it, you're like, I rate that because you can back it. You can back your stuff.
It'll be very interesting to see what happens with Isaac. I personally don't think he's going to go in the summer. And the reason I think that is because there's too much for other teams to do in terms of. So let's see, Liverpool, a team that could potentially get in they would have to get rid of a Nunez. They would have to sell a couple of players. And then they would have to spend 120 million, which is not a very Liverpool thing. You look at the other teams that could potentially do with an Isaac, Lewandowski at Barcelona. Not going to be a Real Madrid, so there's a Barcelona. Are Barcelona getting rid of Lewandowski this season? I don't think they are.
Well, he's staying another year, isn't
exactly. So I just think the timing for everyone is a little bit off. And I think that, as we've spoken about previously, the better option for Arsenal may not be to get rid of Isaac. the better option for Arsenal may be to get in 2 strikers, especially if one of them is an Ollie Watkins, who is Premier League proven. And I think that's the important thing when we're talking about who Arsenal bring in. Now, if it's just Benjamin Sesko and they're looking at this Castro and they're looking at Lano, you might think to yourself, should they actually just go for Isaac? But when you add the fact that actually they want to bring in an Ollie Watkins as well, who could get you 15, 20 goals a season, that I can buy into. That I could definitely buy into. Just quickly, obviously there was some rumours linking Benjamin Sesko to Liverpool. More news since then? Or is it still the same situation, or is Benjamin Sesko still looking at Arsenal? What's the current situation?
Yeah, I mean, I've not heard anything. Liverpool and Benjamin Sesko, I'm sure they admire him. I'm sure he's someone that they've watched. I'm sure most big clubs have. But I think you sort of explained it really well, a few seconds ago. For Liverpool to bring someone of a Sesko in, they would really have to have quite a fair old clear out. Nunes would have to go. I think from what I'm hearing of Nunes, it's they still want to see, if they was to sell him now, do you know what I mean? It would seem like a bit of a backward step for them. Yeah. I think they still want to give Nunes a chance. I still think there's a player in there. To be honest with you, Nunes, I just think he needs. Sometimes even when maybe if Salah left, maybe Nunes would come to form in it. But look, back to Sesko. I've never, been heard of anything really sort of solid that links seems to been linking him to Liverpool. Whether something will come on, later in the window, we'll wait and see. But I think we've always said about Sesko and Arsenal. We've had many shows where we've explained how much Arsenal like him, how interested they are in him, and I think there was the quote from David Ornstein the other week or last week about when he was asked a question. I think it was aimed at Isaac and Arsenal, and David turned around and actually said that out of all the strikers that Arsenal are interested in, which there is quite a few, you have to keep options open. Do you know what I mean? You have to do this, especially when you want 2.
Yeah.
David turned around and went. He said they've no striker they've done as much work as Benjamin Sesko.
Oh, okay. Says a lot.
So if Ornstein's, we've said many a time on here, haven't we? But going back from summer, that how much Arsenal want this guy, and he's the man, and he's the reason why. And I think Arsenal are waiting for him. He's the guy they want to hang their hat on, and if he comes,
do you know what? Thinking about it, I would be a little bit annoyed. Like I want this transfer now. Like you said, we didn't bring in anyone in January. We didn't get the deal done in the summer because he wanted to stay. Like to wait this long and to not bring in your man, the one you've done the research on for so long.
Yeah.
Finish what you
finish it off, and I think as I said, we know how interested Arsenal are in Sesko. We know we've going back over the last year and a half, we've spoken about him many a time. But it was like a little bit of it was really interesting to see David Ornstein come out and say, this guy, they've done so much work on him, and no striker have they done as much work on as Benjamin Sesko. Yeah. So he's their guy. Look, he's their guy. They haven't done. I think what he was saying, without saying it, because the question was aimed at Isaac, he was telling the guy who answered him the question on his, I think it was on his blog on The Athletic, that there's Isaac, they like him, but this is the man that they want. This is the guy. And look, now it's up to Berta to come in, and Andre Berta, who looks like he's going to be Arsenal's new sporting director now.
How far is that off?
From what I'm from my understanding, it could be this week.
Okay.
It's virtually done. So
Yeah.
this is the guy, and yeah, look, this guy's made some big transfers, dealings
Mhm.
in his time. Felix, wasn't it, and Lamar and Julian Alvarez and Rodri, and to name a few of them. So yeah, was he Atletico Madrid's sporting director, wasn't he? So yeah, I mean they're some of the players that they've bought and have performed for them. He's their guy. I don't know what type of role he's going to take up, what type of sporting director he's going to be. Sometimes they're given the name sporting director, but they don't actually do that job. Sporting director can be everything. Do you know what I mean? It could be the women's team, it could be the academy, it could be the first team. I've got the funny feeling that this is going to be something like he's going to be just working with Arteta and the first team, and like analysis and data, and he'll be the guy who will be at the head of the transfers.
Yeah.
While Arteta's doing other stuff. And maybe Jason Ato will be the guy who'll be doing like the academy stuff and the women's team and stuff like that. So I think they might split.
It's still, because there's a lot of criticism from fans, and I don't think they really know what Jason Ato was doing. But
yeah.
But when he first came in and covered it, it seemed like there was a lot of praise from inside, and they was impressed with what he was doing.
There's so much, kids. I mean, like people think sporting director, straight away they go to transfers, and that's it. But it ain't it. There's analysis, there's data, there's the academy team, there's the women's team. I think looking at Berta and the type of job he played at Atletico, I don't think he'll be an academy women's team type of guy.
Yeah.
And so I think they'll split it. I think between Jason Ato, Teta, and Berta, they'll run it.
Yeah, and Jason
between the three of them
with Pierre Mertesacker.
Exactly. Yeah. I just can't. I might be wrong. Look, Berta might come in and take over the women. I just don't know. It's just something. Talking to people, it may not work out. May not go that way.
Yeah.
But sporting directors. There's a whole big load of different things. It's not. Yeah. Plethora of stuff.
All right. Thank you for that, Steve. Was there anything else? I know that quickly you might want to touch on the links from Harry Kane. I saw that earlier on today. Man United, Arsenal.
No. Yeah. I'm interested in. I haven't heard nothing on that. I can't. I'll take him. I'll take him for a couple of seasons. So that would be sweet. But just looking forward to listening to this. This interview that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's given to the BBC tonight. There's
a lot of there's a lot of
come out with some quite candid statements.
Yeah, players aren't good enough, players overpaid, certain things. It'd be very, very interesting.
Calling out Ireland and Onana and very interesting. But I think he's basically coming out with like, look, don't blame all this on me. It was the mess like when I come in. But it's similar to like Labour when they come in and they just blamed everything on the Conservative Party. We got all this work to do. It's not us who put us in this
14 years of turmoil.
Yeah, and he's come in and done exactly the same, hasn't he? And said, not me. We've got to turn this around. It's going to take ages, but
we'll see.
We plan to be back. But
well,
don't blame us.
And I think they will be. Look, it's Manchester United. They're an institution. Like they're not a club that's going to stay down for long. We've seen it with these other clubs that they have a bad time. They still manage to keep on winning trophies, even though they're at their worst, and they pop back eventually. Liverpool did it, Arsenal did it, Man United, I'm sure, will do it as well. So we will see. Thank you for joining us tonight, Steve.
Pleasure, mate. Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you to everyone who joined us before. Sorry, there was a bit of technical difficulties for anyone that was watching on Twitter. It took about 10 minutes to actually get it connected, but we eventually got there and eventually got some of you watching. So thank you very much for sticking around. Thank you, everyone in the comment section, Daniel and Russ, as always. If you've got any questions on transfers, make sure you go and follow Steve K on Twitter. Go and follow us on the Transfer Exchange Show on TikTok or Kieran AFC on TikTok as well. Press that like and subscribe if you are new to the show, and then press that like and share button if you are a regular. It all helps. Peace out, people. Stay safe. Hold on a second and wash your hands.